In the cold depths of the Galactic Council's observation chamber, alien delegates witness the abrupt and chilling silence of Earth's Dreadnought, a warship believed invincible. Confusion and dread ripple through the Council as they struggle to comprehend the seemingly self-imposed silence. Meanwhile, aboard the silent Dreadnought, a human commander prepares a final cryptic broadcast, promising a reckoning no alien could predict. The power balance begins to shift as ancient fears awaken. The grand observation hall hummed with cold light, an immense circular chamber carved from iridescent crystal, suspended in zero-G near the heart of the Galactic Council's flagship. Rows of alien delegates, each from vastly different star systems, sat in stately silence, their multifaceted eyes glued to the massive holoscreen suspended in the center. The screen flickered, alive with streaming data and a grainy image from Earth's orbit. The pride of humanity, the Dreadnought Aegis, loomed large. A gargantuan vessel, built from forged adamantium alloys and layered with adaptive nanomaterials, rumored to be impenetrable. Its hull shimmered faintly, an EMP-resistant cloak engaging, in response to unseen threats. Yet now it sat utterly still, utterly silent. No communications, no maneuvers, a ghost in the void. Why does it not respond? Hissed Velkar, the Council's military delegate from the Cyrath cluster, his segmented antennae twitching with unease. Our scanners show no external assault, no breach. Yet Aegis has gone dead. Moralith, the Council's foremost. A xenopsychologist swiveled her many eyes, her voice a whisper of dread. This silence is unnatural. The humans do not yield so easily. To go silent means one thing: Deathworld protocols activated, their final gambit. Council chambers shifted uneasily. Whispers buzzed like a swarm of hive insects. Deathworld protocols, an archaic but terrifying concept whispered among spacefarers, were Earth's last defense against annihilation. It meant the Dreadnought was not destroyed, but had gone dormant, a predator playing dead, preparing for a deeper strike. Velkar's claws tapped violently on the console. But what kind of strike requires silence? Their communications are their greatest weapon, their threat and negotiation tool. To go silent is to confess defeat or madness. A sharp ripple of panic flared in the holographic audience as data showed the Dreadnought's internal energy reserves dropping at a steady pace, but with no external power draws. The ship was draining its own systems, shutting down everything except what was absolutely critical. Cut to the interior of the Dreadnought. Commander Elias Riker stood on the bridge, his gaunt face lit only by the dull amber glow of emergency panels. The silence outside was more deafening than any battle roar. Behind him, the crew moved with grim precision, performing tasks rehearsed since childhood. No chatter, only the steady beep of nanotech repairs and the slow countdown of the ship's final protocols. The Dreadnought's AI voice, usually calm and monotone, was absent, a calculated silence. Riker's eyes focused on a small screen, the last transmission ready to send. The broadcast was not an appeal, not a surrender. It was a promise. Tell them. The heart of a death world never stops beating, he murmured, voice low but resolute. Earth does not die quietly. A hand reached out, hesitating on the comm switch. The countdown began. 10 seconds. 9. 8. Outside space stretched. Vast and empty, but the Dreadnought's silent pulse throbbed like a buried beast awakening. Back at the Council. A sudden, chilling voice crackled over the holoscreen, unencrypted and raw, a voice no one expected. This silence is no surrender. It is a heartbeat, Earth's heart. You will hear it again. In the reckoning, the hall fell into stunned silence. Velkar's antennae flattened in disbelief, Moralith whispered. The primitive species, they are no longer to be underestimated. The Council's balance of power shifted palpably. Earth's Dreadnought had stopped speaking, but its Deathworld heart was about to roar. As the Galactic Council reels from Earth's silent threat, panic and uncertainty spread. Scientists and strategists scrambled to decode humanity's hidden tactics, questioning long-held assumptions about Earth's technology and psychology. Meanwhile, aboard the dormant Dreadnought, Commander Riker grapples with the grim choices behind the ship's silence, preparing the crew for a desperate gambit. The line between sacrifice and victory blurs as old fears collide with new horrors. The Galactic Council's chamber had never known such palpable tension. The silence after the human broadcast was worse than any roar of warships or storm of plasma. Bolts. It was a vacuum, an unspoken challenge carved into the void between stars. Velkar, the Cyrath general, paced before the holopanel, muttering under his breath. The Dreadnought's silence wasn't just an anomaly. It was a declaration. The Council's information network pulsed with frantic requests. What is Earth hiding? What weapon does silence conceal? Moralith's many eyes, glinting like starlight caught in ice, scanned the endless streams of data pouring from Earth's sector. They have cloaked their movements in a way we cannot yet detect, she said, voice tight with apprehension. But it's more than that. Their silence is a strategy. They are playing a psychological game we barely understand. Behind her, the Council's intelligence analysts had begun breaking down the fragments of Earth's last known transmissions. Dr. Islan, a human xenolinguist exiled centuries ago, now an advisor to the Council, was the only one calm. They aren't just quiet, Islan said softly. They're waiting. The silence itself is the weapon. In Earth's history, silence often meant survival or deadly patience. This is no accident. It's a calculated move rooted in millennia of warfare on their Deathworld. Deathworld, Velkar spat, disdainful. Primitive worlds like Earth cannot comprehend the complexity of interstellar war. Islan's eyes narrowed. Underestimate them at your peril. Inside the immense hull of the Dreadnought, every corridor was shrouded in half-light, the hum of machinery reduced to whispers. The air was thick with tension, each breath heavy as if the ship itself held its breath. Commander Elias Riker stood at the observation deck, staring out into the abyss. Earth hung like a fragile jewel behind him, the blue-green marble, both home and death trap. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Mara Lin, approached quietly. "Commander, the crew's morale is fracturing. They don't understand why we've gone." Silent. Fear is spreading. Riker turned, his eyes reflecting the dim emergency lights. "They will understand soon enough," he said, voice low but steady. "Silence is our final shield. If they expect us to fight with weapons and words, we will deny them both. We will fight with shadows and ghosts." Lin frowned. "But the Council will retaliate. Their fleets are vast. If they find us vulnerable, then we show them there is no vulnerability left. This ship is a Deathworld itself." Riker tapped the console, bringing up a complex schematic of the ship's inner workings. "Our cloaking tech is not just electromagnetic. Nanobots embedded in the hull can self-repair and adapt, turning the Dreadnought into a living armor. The ship will bleed only what we allow." Lin's eyes widened. "You mean the ship can evolve in combat, like a predator's skin?" Riker nodded grimly. "Exactly. But this evolution requires sacrifice. We've initiated power rerouting to critical systems, diverting energy from life support in low-priority zones, disabling non-essential AI nodes, all to maximize stealth and endurance." Lin's voice dropped. "That means the crew will have to endure the hardship," Riker finished. "We fight not just the Council fleets, but entropy itself." The atmosphere was one of rising paranoia. Moralith convened an emergency session with top military strategists and xenoscientists. "The humans are playing a new game," she warned. "One we cannot fully understand. Their use of Deathworld protocols suggests they may activate environmental weapons, biological, geological or nanotechnological, hidden within the Dreadnought or Earth itself. Velkar slammed his clawed fist on the console. Then we must act now. A swift strike to disable their Dreadnought before this Deathworld heart awakens. Island shook her head. Rushing will play into their hands. The humans use delay and silence as weapons. An attack might trigger their full-scale retaliation. A younger strategist, J. Rahl from the Brink Nebula, interjected, "If they are silent, maybe their senses are blind. Could we use EMPs or gravity disruptors to flush them out?" Moralith frowned. "Possible, but Earth's technology is designed to resist such assaults. Their nanotech repairs and adaptive cloaking can counteract EMP and gravity waves. It's a biological system integrated with tech, almost symbiotic." The Council's military advisors debated fiercely. Uncertainty was an alien concept for these battle-hardened races, but now fear seeded hesitation. Below the Dreadnought's bridge, Dr. Talia Voss, the ship's lead nanotechnologist, stared at her holographic interface showing the nanobot swarms. "Encasing the ship, every nanobot here can independently assess damage and initiate repairs," she explained to a small group of scientists. "This swarm is designed to mimic biological healing, deploying proteins and minerals from onboard reserves. It's not just tech. It's synthetic life." A young engineer raised a brow. "But how do we keep the system from going rogue or leaking information to the enemy's scanners?" Voss's expression hardened. "The nanobots run on an encrypted biocode that rewrites itself constantly, essentially a genetic firewall. No external system can predict their behavior. It's the ultimate cloak." She paused, then glanced at a small device, a temporal field generator. "This device will modulate the ship's local time field, creating delays in enemy sensor data. The Council will see us as frozen in space. A ghost." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "This is why the Dreadnought is silent. Because it is not dead. It's waiting, evolving, preparing for something the galaxy has never seen." Back at the Council, Moralith stared at the darkening holoscreen, her voice trembling. "Why are they like this?" she murmured. "Why do they endure such self-imposed suffering? This Deathworld mentality defies logic. It's primitive and advanced at once." Velkar sneered, but even he seemed unsettled. "They are survivors of a brutal world. They have no illusions. The galaxy is an endless predator, and Earth is its most vicious prey." A young ambassador from the Ikran system suddenly gasped. "We have new readings. The Dreadnought's power reserves are fluctuating erratically, like a heartbeat. Something is stirring." Moralith's multiple eyes widened. "The Deathworld heart, it beats still." Riker walked slowly through the dim corridors, passing crew members whose faces were pale but determined. In the mess hall, Lieutenant Mara Lin gathered a group of soldiers, reading from a datapad. "This silence is not defeat," she said firmly. "It is our promise. The enemy believes the Dreadnought is dead, but we are a living weapon. We endure the dark, so we may strike when they least expect it." Riker joined her, raising his voice for the crew to hear. "We do not fight because we want to survive. We fight because Earth is not just a planet, it is a crucible. We are forged in its fires. The galaxy misunderstands us. They see silence as weakness. They will learn it is the calm before the storm." A chorus of nods and murmurs rose. Riker's voice lowered to a chilling promise. "The Council hears a heartbeat. They will hear the war cry soon." The Dreadnought's bridge, once a cacophony of commands and alarms, was now dominated by a single visual, a slowly pulsing red light, symbolizing the Deathworld heart beating beneath layers of steel and nanotech. Riker's hand hovered over a sealed switch labeled Project Harbinger, a final weapon developed in secret, designed not just to kill, but to reshape entire star systems. He closed his eyes and whispered, "May Earth's heart never cease to beat." The council chamber erupted suddenly as an unanticipated alert flashed. "Unknown signature approaching the Dreadnought," a scout called out. Velkar's antennae twitched. "Is it a probe? An attack fleet?" Moralith swallowed hard. "No, it's something unexpected." The holoscreen shifted. A faint, ghostly outline appeared, a ship unlike any known technology, moving through the void with deliberate silence. The council was faced with a terrifying question. Had Earth sent more than just silence into the void? The eerie silhouette glided closer to the dormant Dreadnought, its form unlike any known craft catalogued in the Galactic Registry. The ship's hull was a patchwork of shifting shadows and starlight, a living phantom that refused to conform to standard physics. Velkar's claws clenched the armrest of his chair. "It defies detection and all known propulsion methods. What are they?" Moralith's voice was barely audible over the rising din of alarmed delegates. The Council's oldest records mention such ships only in myth, ghost vessels, piloted by lost civilizations. The hollow projection flickered as the shadow ship reached the outer sensor perimeter of the Dreadnought. It stopped, motionless, yet pulsing with latent energy. A signal crackled through council channels, a garbled sequence of frequencies. No language, no pattern, only a deep, rhythmic pulse. Velkar growled, "It's a challenge, a warning, Commander." Riker sat in the command deck's dim glow, listening to reports from scattered stations. The crew's anxiety was palpable. Fear mingled with fierce pride. Lieutenant Lin approached, her expression tight. "Commander, sensors show an unidentified ship approaching. It matches council reports. The ghost ship." Riker nodded slowly. "Prepare defenses, but hold fire. We do not know its intent." Nearby, Dr. Voss adjusted her nanotech interface, a pale sheen on her brow. "The ghost ship. It emits a signature similar to some ancient Earth legends. The Watcher, a vessel said to patrol the void between worlds." Riker frowned. "Legends have a way of becoming real when you least expect it." Suddenly, the Dreadnought's communication console flickered. An encrypted channel opened, and a voice, rough and resonant, filled the chamber. "This is Ambassador Zathar of the Obsidian Sect. We come with a message and a warning." The council delegates gasped. The Obsidian Sect had been extinct for centuries. Their last recorded contact a series of violent wars that reshaped the sector. Their sudden reappearance sent shockwaves through the political ranks. Velkar hissed, "Why now? Why with Earth?" Zathar's image shimmered, a towering figure clad in dark ceremonial armor, etched with glowing runes. His voice echoed with ancient gravitas. "Earth's silence is not mere stubbornness. It is the heartbeat of a forgotten war, a war the Council seeks to bury. The Deathworld protocols were forged in darkness, born from Earth's deepest scars." Riker stepped forward, voice steady. "What is this war? What do you want?" Zathar's eyes glowed. "The Council's history is not as pure as it claims. Your Dreadnought carries more than weapons. It carries secrets that could unravel the fragile peace of the galaxy." Whispers erupted among the delegates. "Secrets?" Moralith demanded. "Explain yourself." Zathar's voice dropped to a solemn whisper. "Long ago, Earth was not the primitive world you see. It was the crucible for an ancient alliance, betrayed and cast into oblivion. The Deathworld heart beats with that legacy." Velkar's fury broke through. "Lies! Earth is a backwater. How dare you speak such blasphemy?" Zathar smiled darkly. "The truth is often blasphemy to those who fear it." Back aboard the Dreadnought, Dr. Voss gathered a small group of historians and scientists. "We've long known Earth's surface was shaped by cataclysms," she said, projecting holograms of geological upheavals and ancient ruins. "But the Obsidian Sect's claims suggest a hidden history, ancient alliances, betrayals, and technologies lost to time." A historian interrupted. Could the Dreadnought's Deathworld heart be more than a weapon? Perhaps it's a key to something much larger. Riker considered the weight of her words. We prepared for a fight, but now we must prepare for revelation. As the ghost ship hovered silently near the Dreadnought, its pulses synchronized with the faint, rhythmic glow emanating from the ship's hull. The Deathworld heart was stirring, not just as a weapon, but as a beacon. Velkar's voice trembled in the council. If what Zathar says is true, the galaxy has misjudged Earth for centuries, Moralith whispered, and the reckoning has only just begun. Deep beneath Earth's surface, far below the crust where human cities thrived, a cavernous complex lay buried, forgotten by time and untouched by light for millennia. This was no natural formation. Massive steel arches spanned vast chambers, their surfaces etched with strange symbols and embedded circuits older than any known human civilization. Dr. Lian Cheng, an archaeologist turned xenoanthropologist, studied the data streaming from the Dreadnought's internal scans. This isn't just a ship, she said, her voice reverent. It's a mobile archive, a vault of Earth's ancient past. The Council's skepticism had been profound, but Lian's analysis was irrefutable. Layers of the ship's hull incorporated. Minerals and technology not just engineered, but grown. Biosynthetic hybrids that hummed with something almost alive. Look here, she said, zooming in on a schematic. These glyphs aren't just decorations, they're instructions, blueprints for technologies lost to human memory. The Deathworld heart is more than a weapon, it's a key. Back at the Galactic Council chamber, tension boiled over. Ambassador. Zathar's presence was both a gift and a curse, as factions clashed over how to respond to Earth's silence and the newfound knowledge. We must strike first, Velkar thundered, claws slamming down on the crystal console. This deception threatens every world in this sector. Earth's Deathworld heart could shatter peace. Patience, Moralith urged, her eyes gleaming with cold logic. We must understand what we face before destroying it. Jural, the younger strategist, nodded. If the Dreadnought is a vault of lost technology, then attacking it blindly could awaken a power beyond our control. Zathar added gravely. The Obsidian Sect's wars were fought over this technology. It was buried to prevent catastrophe. Earth's silence is its warning. On the Dreadnought bridge, Riker stared at the ship's control panel. Alarms softly pulsed in the background, an ominous reminder of the Deathworld heart's slow activation. Lieutenant. Lin's voice broke the quiet. Commander, the activation sequence is irreversible once it passes the next stage. We either proceed or shut down completely. Riker's jaw clenched. Every sacrifice this ship and crew have made has led here. If we back down now, Earth dies. But this power, Lin said, could consume us all. Riker's eyes darkened. Then we ensure the galaxy remembers what it means to challenge a death world. Dr. Voss confronted Riker quietly near the command deck. The Deathworld heart isn't just a weapon. It's a systemic transformation. Activating it could alter Earth's biosphere, potentially lethal to all life. Riker's expression was unyielding. The Council's fleets would bring death to billions. If this weapon saves even one life on Earth, it is worth the cost. Voss's gaze held his. You risk becoming the monster you fight. In the crew quarters, whispers of fear mixed with fierce loyalty. Private Salik, a young soldier, confided to a comrade, I don't want to die for a ghost war, but if this is what it takes to protect Earth, I'm ready. Across the ship, others prepared for the inevitable, donning suits woven with nanotech, fibers that would help their bodies endure the coming storm. The Galactic Council's vote was close and bitter. Some advocated for peace, others for total annihilation. Moralith's voice was decisive. Earth's Deathworld heart may yet be a force for mercy, not just destruction. The true test lies ahead. Velkar's glare promised war. As the Dreadnought's Deathworld heart pulsed with increasing intensity, a sudden shockwave rippled through space, felt across senses and souls alike. The silence shattered. The reckoning had begun. The Dreadnought's Deathworld heart pulses outward, triggering a chain reaction that shakes both Earth and the galactic stage. The Council scrambles to contain the consequences, while human crews face the devastating power firsthand. Betrayals surface, alliances shift, and the true cost of Earth's wrath begins to unfold in fiery, harrowing detail. The moment the pulse erupted, the Dreadnought's sensors flickered violently, registering a sudden spike in subspace disturbance. Commander Riker gripped the armrest, watching a cascading series of readings spike off the charts. Lieutenant Lin's voice was taut. "Commander, we're experiencing a gravitational feedback loop. The Deathworld heart is affecting nearby space-time fields. Down on the planet, cities felt tremors, deep, resonant vibrations like a distant heartbeat pulsing through rock and steel. Emergency systems blinked on, alarms warning millions. This isn't just a weapon," Dr. Voss said through the comlink. "It's a planetary-scale transformation device. We've unleashed something that will alter ecosystems and tectonics alike." Velkar slammed his fist onto the table, furious. "Contain it! Destroy Earth's Dreadnought before it reshapes the sector!" Moralith countered. "Destroying! It now risks detonating a chain reaction far worse than any battle we've known." The council chambers erupted into chaos. Votes split, accusations flying. Zathar stood silent, watching with ancient, unreadable eyes. Amid the chaos, Earth's surface forces felt the first catastrophic effects. Nanotech armor buckled under sudden bursts of energy. Gravity fluctuations sent soldiers sprawling. The Deathworld heart's activation was a double-edged sword, powerful but wildly unpredictable. Private Salik struggled to maintain footing as the ground cracked beneath him, a geyser of molten rock erupting nearby. "We're not just fighting aliens anymore," he muttered. "We're fighting Earth itself." Nearby, Sergeant Hale coordinated the evacuation of civilians, voice calm despite the inferno. "Hold the line. We protect every soul we can." Unbeknownst to Riker, a faction aboard the Dreadnought had already been swayed by council whispers. Believing Earth's Deathworld gambit doomed all, quiet sabotage began, data wiped, communication lines jammed, and defense systems compromised. Lieutenant Karras, conflicted but resolute, confronted Riker in a shadowed corridor. "You're risking too much. This isn't salvation, it's annihilation." Riker's eyes burned. "If you can't stand with Earth, stand aside." Zathar made an unprecedented offer. "The Obsidian sect's knowledge of this technology can stabilize the Deathworld heart if the Council agrees to a ceasefire." Moralith hesitated. "Can we trust you?" Zathar's voice was steady. "I was once part of that betrayal. I seek to prevent its repetition." The Council's mood shifted, desperation breeding fragile hope. Meanwhile, Riker grappled with the precariousness of trust and the unyielding march of the Deathworld heart's awakening. In the cramped quarters, soldiers and scientists alike faced the psychological toll. Dreams haunted by fires and shadows. Conversations fraught with fear and defiance. Dr. Voss confided to Lin, "We've never seen humans like this, unbreakable yet haunted." "Why do they endure?" Lin answered quietly. "Because beneath all that fire is a heart that refuses to die." Nal emerged, an encrypted broadcast sent into deep space. Riker's voice was grim as he deciphered the message. "This is Earth's final warning. The Deathworld will rise." The Dreadnought's core thrummed with a new urgency, its pulse a relentless, measured drumbeat deep within the ship's metal veins. Commander Riker stood rigid on the bridge, eyes locked on the main. Gonzola's streams of data scrolled in chaotic torrents across the holographic displays. Outside, the ghost ship lingered, a silent shadow in the void, watching, waiting. Status report. Riker's voice was calm, but edged with iron. Lieutenant Lin's fingers danced over the controls. The heart's activation sequence has passed the critical threshold. The environmental feedback is increasing exponentially. Surface scans show massive seismic events correlating with the core's pulses. Riker's jaw clenched. What are we dealing with now? Dr. Voss's voice crackled in from the science lab. It's worse than we anticipated. The Deathworld heart is triggering an accelerated biosphere shift. We're seeing nano-organic interactions on a scale that threatens all known ecosystems. The planet itself is reacting, almost as if it's alive. A deep silence fell over the command room. The weight of that word, alive, hung like a spectre. Riker turned sharply. Can we stop it? Voss's response was a bitter whisper. Not without risking planetary collapse. Outside, the ghost ship's silhouette wavered, as if disturbed by the Dreadnought's heartbeat. Ambassador Zatha's encrypted comm broke through the static. Commander Riker, your ship's awakening has drawn forces far beyond this sector's eyes. You are no longer isolated. Riker's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? Zatha's voice held an ancient gravitas. The technology you've unleashed belongs to a covenant of civilizations older than the Council. They have watched, and now they come. The bridge crew exchanged tense glances. Every sensor was primed to detect the incoming storm, but space around Earth was eerily silent, too silent. The Dreadnought's heartbeat was a beacon, a call across the void. Prepare the defenses, Riker ordered, but hold all fire. This battle is not ours to start. Meanwhile, below the Dreadnought's hull, in the labyrinthine corridors where the crew moved like shadows, Lieutenant Karras confronted Sergeant Hale in a deserted maintenance bay. Her voice was low, urgent. We can't keep pretending this is under control. The Council is fracturing, the sabotage is real, and the Deathworld heart's power is beyond anything we've faced. Hale's grim expression hardened. I'm with you, but what choice do we have? If Riker pushes forward, Earth's fate might be sealed. Karras nodded, eyes steely. Then we act. We stop the heart ourselves, before it's too late. Back on the bridge, Riker reviewed historical data brought by Zatha. The Obsidian sect's records painted a stark picture. Millennia ago, Earth was the epicenter of an ancient war between cosmic empires. The Deathworld heart was a weapon of last resort, meant to purge entire biospheres and reset worlds deemed corrupted. Riker's voice was hollow. So we're the last remnants of that war, or its final executioners. In the human quarters, Private Salik sat by a viewport, watching distant storms rage across Earth's surface. His face was smudged with soot and sweat. Why do we fight on a planet that's turning against us? He murmured to himself. A voice replied softly behind him. Because giving up isn't an option. Not for us. It was Lieutenant Lin. She joined him silently, watching the storms flicker in the dark below. Do you think the Council understands what they're about to face? Salik asked. Lin shook her head. They never understand us, but they'll learn. Suddenly, alarms shattered. The fragile calm. The Dreadnought's sensors detected an anomaly, a fleet emerging from hyperspace beyond the outer solar system. The Council's warning was coming true. Unknown vessels, multiple signatures, Lin reported. Not in any registry. Their tech is ancient but advanced, cloaked until moments ago. Riker's eyes hardened. Prepare for contact. This is no longer about survival, it's about legacy. On the Council's homeworld, Velkar paced the Grand Chamber, rage coiling in his chest. Earth's defiance will be crushed. We'll deploy the entirety of the peacekeeping forces. No mercy. Moralith's cold voice cut through. Mercy is a weapon, Velkar. Underestimating Earth has cost us already, he snarled. And trusting them would cost us everything. A hush fell as Zathar entered, his gaze sweeping the chamber. You do not see what you face. The Deathworld heart is not simply a weapon, it is a crucible. Earth's silence has been a warning, a preparation. Now the reckoning dawns. Council members shifted uneasily. The lines between war, diplomacy and survival blurred like smoke. Back, aboard the Dreadnought, the Deathworld heart's glow deepened, pulsing in synchrony with the tremors rippling through Earth's crust. Riker's voice was a quiet vow. We will endure. We will rise, because humanity's heart beats strongest when everything else is silent. As the unknown fleet closed in, the Dreadnought systems hummed with deadly purpose. The final act was beginning, and no one, not council nor human, would emerge unchanged. The shadows of ancient wars stirred once more, and Earth's silent Dreadnought was its thunderous heartbeat. The void around Earth thickened with unspoken dread as the unfamiliar fleet edged closer, a dark swarm rippling through space. The Dreadnought's sensors blinked warning after warning, but it was not the raw firepower that unsettled Commander Riker most. It was the eerie silence, the precision of their approach. No reckless bombardment, no chaotic assault. These were hunters, not invaders. Riker stood at the bridge's helm, eyes narrowed beneath the shadow of the control console's glow. "Who are they?" he muttered, mostly to himself. Then louder, "Lynn, open all available channels. Let's find out if they're willing to talk." Lieutenant Lynn's hands danced over the interface. Static flooded the speakers, a garbled chorus of unknown languages. Then a voice, cold and ancient, cut through the noise in a tongue that twisted human comprehension. Zathar's translation module kicked in. "You awaken the dead. Earth's fury calls across the void. We are the sentinels of the first. Flame! Cease your path or be consumed." Riker's jaw tightened. Sentinels of the first flame. The name's a warning, not a welcome. In the war room beneath the Dreadnought's bridge, tension throbbed like a wound. The crew huddled, listening to the Council's fragmented broadcasts, the crackling of distant conflicts, the shouts of strategists clashing over next moves. Lieutenant Krylos stepped forward, voice steady despite the weight pressing on her shoulders. This fleet, they're relics of the ancient cosmic wars. The first flame was the ignition point of that cataclysm. If they're here, it means we've crossed a line. Sergeant Hale's face was grim. Lines don't hold in wars like these. We either fight or we die trying. On Earth's surface, tremors grew fiercer, each pulse from the Deathworld heart stirring the planet's bones. Cities fought to stand against violent quakes, and deep in the underground bunkers civilians prayed, not for peace, but for survival. Dr. Voss monitored the biosphere shifts, voice taut with exhaustion. The heart is transforming the planet at a molecular level. It's rewriting ecosystems, evolving resistance in real time. If we don't control it, Earth itself will become a weapon far beyond our making. Riker's comm crackled. "Any word from Zathar?" Zathar's voice was low, measured. "The Sentinels are not merely destroyers. They are judges. Your activation of the Deathworld heart triggers an ancient covenant of reckoning. This is the galaxy's way of deciding if Earth will be mercy or ruin." The Dreadnought shuddered, as another shockwave rippled through space-time, a ripple that distorted reality itself. The heart's pulse was no longer a simple beat, it was a roar, a challenge thrown into the void. On the bridge, Riker faced his crew, voice steady but fierce. "We didn't choose this path, but we will walk it with our heads high. Ready, the defensive arrays, shield generators at maximum. Prepare boarding teams if necessary. This fight is far from over." Private Salik, standing near the weapons console, clenched his fists. "They think we're a primitive species. They don't know what it means to survive hell and keep fighting." Lieutenant Lynn nodded. "They'll learn. The hard way." Suddenly, the Dreadnought's comm system erupted with an urgent alert. Multiple boarding craft detected, cloaked pods deploying from the Sentinel fleet. "They're targeting our perimeters." The ship's crew scrambled, sealing bulkheads and manning weapon stations. Riker gripped his chair, eyes blazing. This isn't just a test. They want to claim the heart for themselves. Fierce firefights erupted in the corridors as alien infiltrators breached the hull. The crew fought back with ferocity born of desperation and hope. Every blast echoed with the raw determination to protect Earth's last sanctuary. Amid the chaos, Karis led a squad deep into the ventilation shafts, cutting off intruders before they could reach critical systems. "Hold! Your ground!" she shouted, voice echoing over comms. On the bridge, Voss worked feverishly, rerouting power to emergency life support as systems flickered under assault. The heart's feedback loop is destabilizing. If we lose control, it could trigger a planetary implosion. Riker's voice was grim. Then we hold it together, no matter the cost. Outside, the Sentinel fleet orbited Earth like a dark halo, weapons primed, waiting for a sign. The Dreadnought's Deathworld heart pulsed, brighter, lighting up the void like a beacon of defiance. Zathar's warning echoed again through Riker's mind. This is the reckoning. In the depths of the Dreadnought, a hidden chamber stirred. Ancient machinery hummed to life, buried nanotech weaving through circuits, awakening long-dormant defenses. Riker's gaze hardened. We are not done yet. The battle for Earth's soul had only just begun. The Dreadnought quivered under the strain of battle, its hull reverberating with the echo of explosions and the sickening crackle of plasma bolts. Commander Riker stood at the command console, watching tactical readouts scroll like ghostly ribbons in the dim light. Outside, the void was no longer silent. It churned with deadly intent. The Sentinels' boarding pods had breached the outer hull, their sleek forms darting through the corridors like venomous shadows. The Dreadnought's crew was fighting tooth and nail to repel them. Lieutenant Karis led her squad with precision and fury, every step a desperate act of survival. Sector 7's compromised, Karis hissed into her comm. Containment. Protocols activated. Seal off all non-essential bulkheads. Sergeant Hale barked orders as he directed reinforcements to plug the breaches. If they take the core, it's over. Hold the line at all costs. In the science bay, Dr. Voss stared at the glowing monitors, their faces pale beneath the flickering emergency lights. The Deathworld heart is destabilizing, she reported. Its pulses are becoming erratic. There's a feedback loop growing. Inside the core, if it collapses, the planet could be torn apart. Riker's eyes narrowed. How long? Minutes, maybe less. The Dreadnought's bridge suddenly shook violently. The lights flickered. The hum of the Deathworld heart turned into a harsh, grinding noise, a sound like the planet itself was screaming. We're losing power to the main shields. Lynn shouted, fingers flying across her console. Hull integrity dropping fast. Riker slammed his fist on the console. Divert all remaining power to shields. No sacrifice zone, but it was already too late. A blast tore through the aft bulkhead, sending a shockwave racing through the ship. Alarms screamed as airlocks sealed automatically. Soldiers and scientists alike were thrown to the deck, scrambling for breath and balance. Karis yelled over the chaos, "Incoming breach! From port side! Get those boarding pods out of here." The Sentinels moved with terrifying grace, silent killers cloaked in shimmering shadows, their weapons pulsing with strange alien energy. Every encounter was brutal, a test of will and endurance. Down in the engineering deck, Private Salix struggled to keep the nanotech repair drones operational. The machines swarmed over the ruptured conduits, welding and patching with relentless speed. "Keep it together," Salik muttered, sweat stinging his eyes. "If these bots fail, we're dead." Meanwhile, the Deathworld heart's glow intensified, a deep red light flooding the corridors. The planet beneath them responded. Tremors shook the ground as massive tectonic plates shifted. Outside the Dreadnought orbiting satellites began to fail one by one, systems overwhelmed by the expanding energy field. Zathar's voice came through the comm, grave and urgent. "Commander, the Sentinels have ancient protocols designed to neutralize the Deathworld heart. They intend to claim it for their own purposes." Riker's jaw tightened. "Then we deny them, at any cost." Suddenly, the bridge shook again. This time with an unnatural force. The very fabric of space seemed to warp around them. On the view screen, the stars twisted, distorted by the heart's energy. Lynn's voice was strained. "Commander, the heart is generating a subspace anomaly. It's pulling nearby systems into a collapse." "We have to stabilize it," Riker said. "Dr. Voss, what's the plan?" Voss exhaled slowly, her eyes flicking over the schematics. "We can reverse the pulse with a synchronized EMP burst, high frequency, precisely timed. But it requires us to shut down the core temporarily." Karis swore under her breath. "Shut down the heart? Are you insane? That's suicide." Riker's decision was quick. "It's either that or the destruction of Earth. Prepare the sequence." As the crew worked feverishly, boarding pods slammed into the heart's chamber. The Dreadnought trembled. With the impact, internal alarms warning of imminent breach. Karis's squad fought desperately, cutting down intruders with disciplined efficiency. But the Sentinels adapted quickly, their tactics evolving in real time. Salik's voice crackled. Through the comm, breathless. "Commander, the repair drones are overwhelmed. We need support." "Hold on, Salik. Reinforcements en route," Riker replied. In the heart chamber, Dr. Voss initiated the shutdown sequence. The glow dimmed as power siphoned away, the rhythmic pulse slowing to a heartbeat, then a faint flicker. The ship's lights flickered, then went dark. Silence. A low hum returned. This time, the Dreadnought's emergency systems were active. Power was restored to critical systems, but the heart remained dormant. The Sentinels retreated momentarily, regrouping outside the compromised hull. Riker breathed deeply, voice steady but weary. "We bought ourselves time. But the war isn't over." Zathar's voice cut through the silence. "This victory is fragile. The Sentinels will not rest. The Deathworld heart's true power is yet to be unleashed." As emergency crews rushed to stabilize the ship, the planet beneath them roared in uneasy response, its very core unsettled by the flickering pulse. The Dreadnought had silenced its heart, but the galaxy's reckoning had only just begun. Tutted, Dreadnought floated, scarred, battered yet unbroken, in the blackness around a planet forever changed. Earth's surface was a fractal of devastation and renewal, wild storms weaving through the shattered landscapes, the pulse of the Deathworld heart now a faint, steady thrum beneath it all. Commander Riker stood alone on the observation deck, staring out into the void where the Sentinel fleet had retreated, swallowed by the shadows of a battered galaxy. The stars twinkled cold and indifferent, but he saw something else, a flicker of hope. "Why do they fight so fiercely?" Lieutenant Lynn's voice was soft behind him. Riker didn't turn. "Because we fight for more than survival. We fight for the right to exist, for mercy earned through sacrifice." The silence between them was thick with the weight of all they had lost and all they had saved. Dr. Voss joined them, eyes weary but resolute. "The Deathworld heart. It's changed Earth. It reshaped the biosphere. But it also awakened something. Inside humanity, a reminder that we are more than prey in this cosmic dance." Riker finally looked at her. "And the Council, the Sentinels. They underestimated us, they always do." The Dreadnought systems hummed quietly beneath their feet, a sleeping giant once more. But its heart was alive, not just with power, but with purpose. Humanity's purpose. From the void came a single transmission, quiet, deliberate, the Council's voice fractured but respectful. "Earth has passed the crucible. Your defiance is acknowledged. Riker's eyes narrowed, a slow smile breaking. Then let them hear this truth. Humanity's silence was never weakness. It was a warning. The heart of a Deathworld beats strongest when it chooses to rise. Outside, the first faint light of dawn crept across Earth's horizon. A planet battered, reborn and unyielding. The war was over, but the legend, the story of humanity's relentless pulse in the face of oblivion, was just beginning.